Hi guys, it is week 3 of my 30-day weight loss journey, and I thought I would take a little time to sit down and just talk with you guys today about things. I sat down last night to compile all the footage that I got from this last week and get prepared to make the long video showing my workouts and how things are going and the food that I ate. And as I was editing the video, I just got this sense of unease, because as I looked at the footage that I had, it was just so grossly unrepresentative of what my week was like last week. You see, I have this propensity to only turn on the camera when things are going well. So my kids are behaving, we're having fun outside, doing some exercises, I'm wiggling around with Roman, and I go and I grab the camera and I catch some of that because I want you guys to see it. But there are lots of moments where I don't grab the camera. Those are the hard moments, the times where life is not going the way I want it to. The times where I'm frustrated with my children, or I am fighting the urge to go have a Coke or a candy bar, or I'm exhausted and sitting on the couch almost in tears because my baby won't sleep. And that kind of sums up my week last week. And there's no footage of that. So as I look at this perfectly curated set of beautiful moments from my week last week, I was happy personally to see them because it was a nice reminder that life is not as dark and bleak as it can feel in my own head sometimes. It was good for me personally to take a look at that footage and to be reminded of things that I have to be grateful for, but I didn't want to share that with you today. And I might share it with you next week when I do the final video of my final 30-day thing is over and we're going to show the results and all like that. But before I share the positive, encouraging, inspiring stuff about this journey, I feel like it would be misleading if I didn't take some time to share with you the hard, discouraging stuff. Since the last 2 weeks when I started doing this journey, I have gotten messages from some of you who say, "Oh, I love what you're doing. I wish I could do it, but life is just too hard for me right now." And that convicted me a lot because I realized if I have made you guys think that my life is easy and perfect and that my life is just a series of beautiful events that I show in my videos, it's just not at all. And I think the worst thing possible would be for, in my attempts to be inspirational and motivating and just show you the good stuff, if I somehow accidentally discouraged you by not sharing with you the difficult but relatable things that you will go through yourself if you go on a journey like mine. So this week Abby has been severely sleep regressed, meaning she's not sleeping at all at night. I've been getting on average maybe 2.5 hours of sleep every night, and I only just started getting some relief 2 nights ago. But this whole week I've been operating on almost no sleep. In addition to that, or of her being so sleep regressed, she's also teething, which means that when she is awake, she's screaming, which is understandable. A teething baby is gonna cry, but there's this sort of this like domino effect that happens where she's screaming and she's upset because she's in pain, and then Roman starts crying, and my toddler, he starts crying and whining because he's so upset by her crying. And then the two of them making so much racket causes my dog to start barking. And at some point I become so overstimulated that I start spiraling out of control. And now there is a system of chaos in my house that is hard to turn around. And it pretty much doesn't get turned around until I get one of the 2 kids down for a nap. So that has been going on this week. And then about halfway through the week, we got some troubling news about a crisis in our family. Not in my nuclear family, but still in my immediate family. And something that is going to potentially be pretty life-changing for my husband and I. And so spending this week processing that news, trying to make plans, trying to figure out what our next steps are going to be, and just constantly spending mental energy on that. And between those two things, I have just been both physically exhausted from lack of sleep and mentally and emotionally exhausted from dealing with this information that we've been given and stuff that we're dealing with. As a result of all that, I think I've worked out 3 times this week, which is great. I mean, I'm proud of myself that I worked out that many times. Before this 30 days, I wasn't working out at all. So it's, progress is progress. But I had made a commitment to work out every day and I haven't. And a lot of that is due to all of the exhaustion that I have. And so today I got on the scale and I was up a pound from where I was. In the middle of the week, I had gotten all the way down to 137, so just 1 pound away from my goal of 10 pounds in 30 days. And now I'm back up to almost 139. And although that doesn't sound like a big deal, that was discouraging. I don't mind not losing weight, but I definitely am not a fan of going up in weight. And I can't even say it's from exercise and I'm putting on muscle because I haven't been doing that. And I'm one of those people where I stress eat. I eat my emotions a little bit. And this week has made it enormously hard for me to not just go get a soda or get into some cookies. And I've noticed that the hardest thing that I have dealt with this week has been not having sugar. And I've actually addressed this in 2 different videos that I've filmed in the last 2 weeks, and I have not included it in my video ultimately because I felt like it was just too discouraging and maybe a little too dark. But the no sugar thing has had me on a serious emotional mind bender. And I realized something. We forget that almost everything we eat has sugar in it. Almost everything we eat. And I had forgotten about this until about 2 days ago. One of my favorite non-mommy related YouTube channels is called Glam and Gore, and she put out her 6-month fitness journey 2 days ago, and she addressed this right up front. She was like, sugar is the hardest thing to cut out of your life, especially since everything has sugar in it, including ketchup. Everything has sugar, and you don't realize how hooked and addicted you are to sugar until you cut it out completely. And then your life kind of starts spiraling out of control. Life starts happening, obstacles get in the way, and your body starts reminding you that you're not having sugar and you can't deal unless you have sugar. And so on top of all the stress that just life events have caused me, I have been almost like feeling a state of depression, which I usually don't feel. And I think it has something to do with my diet and my body lying to me and telling me if only I had sugar, I could deal with all of this a little bit better. So most days I've been at my mental and emotional limit. I've been craving all the foods that I'm not supposed to eat, and I haven't been exercising. There have literally been moments where I have said to myself, everything would be better if I could just have a Coke. And that just sounds ridiculous to say out loud, right? Like, how's a Coke gonna help? How's a Coke gonna change my life? But that's how I felt. So this week was just a disaster in terms of me really being focused on my goals. But I do think that it's important to acknowledge the obstacles and acknowledge the failures, and yet still acknowledge where you succeeded. And here's where I'm very proud of myself, where I did succeed this week. I spent a lot of time on Monday prepping meals for myself, and that ended up being a huge blessing for me because every time right around lunchtime when I was really overwhelmed with the kids, it would have been so easy for me to say, well, I have to fix something fast and eating healthy isn't fast, so let me go heat up some Easy Mac. And that would have been all right, but it's not in line with what my goals are for myself. But because I had taken time at the beginning of the week to prep some lunches for myself, I had no excuse. I could not justify going and making Easy Mac because I already had a meal prepared that I had spent time on, and it was going to go to waste if I did not eat it. I've been devoted to being outside with my children, so I'm getting a tan, and that feels good. I feel better about my skin not looking so vampy. I still haven't had any Cokes. I've stayed on board with my no sugar thing. I've stayed on board with no processed carbs. And I think, again, as moms, I don't think that we can always control exercise. I just think that sometimes as a mother, you're just too exhausted to exercise on some days. And I think we have to give ourselves grace there and just say, I can either sit down on the couch and take a moment and relax and be better tomorrow and try again, or I can go outside and do a workout that I don't feel motivated to do, that's gonna leave me feeling sore in the morning, and I'm gonna be in worse shape as a mom tomorrow. So I think we need to give ourselves grace there, but I think the one thing that I'm learning I can do consistently is control what I put in my body. And as long as I'm eating healthy, eating the right things, if I'm not exercising, it's not as bad, because at least I'm not putting crap into my body that's going to put on weight and make me feel lethargic and gross. And speaking of that, we had a cheat meal last night on date night, and I got a sugary drink, and my stomach felt sick for the whole night, and I woke up feeling sick. Our bodies were not meant to process all this sugar that we put in there all the time, and having gone 3 weeks now with no sugar, and then having a sugary it wasn't a Coke, but having a sugary beverage at dinner was just, my stomach was like, whoa, I haven't had to process this crap in a long time, and I don't want to. So I kind of liked that though. I realized, like, hey, my body has found its groove with what I'm eating, and it likes what I'm eating, and it doesn't want me to put that garbage in there. And so that's encouraging. If there's any message that I want you guys to walk away from before next week when I show my results and make it a celebratory video, I want you to understand that fitness is a lifestyle, and changing bad habits, breaking bad habits, and forming new ones is hard, especially when you have an overwhelming environment that you're living in. Because when things get hard, when you're stressed and overwhelmed, you always want to go back to the bad habits. And that's the world I've been living in this week. And it's okay. This 30-day thing that I'm doing is 30 days, and I'm being very strict for these 30 days, but when the 30 days are over, I'm returning to a lifestyle that has to be sustainable. It can't be as strict as what I've been doing. And I need to have the coping skills to recognize that in lifestyle changes, there are peaks and troughs, there are good days and bad days, there are weeks where the scale goes up and there are weeks where the scale goes down, and you take it in stride, and you know that if there's a bad time now, it will get good soon. So if you join me on this journey and you're feeling discouraged, I hear you, I'm with you, I understand it. And I think the best thing we can do is just keep dusting ourselves off, getting back in the saddle, and trying again. And as moms, I think we're pretty good at that anyway. Because I think every day we go to bed feeling the weight of our failures, feeling the guilt of not being the moms we think we should be for our kids. But every morning we get up the next day, we brush ourselves off and we try again, determined to be better today than we were yesterday. And I think our fitness goals should be the same way. I'm gonna go get a workout in, and hopefully next week will be better. Love you, mean it always. Bye-bye.